Alright, welcome back everybody to Darkest Dungeon. We are in the middle of taking on the drowned crew. We're about, I'd say about close to halfway through this dungeon at this point. So we will just keep on racking up the victories here. I don't foresee, as of right now, any need to retreat. But we will see. We'll see. It happens. I do have a kind of a background goal of completing this game in under 99 weeks. Each turn, I believe, is 1 week. And I don't have the one Crimson Blood DLC attached to this because I didn't feel like wasting even more time. But the Crimson Blood DLC adds a layer of difficulty where not only do you have a whole new area that you have to go through and defeat the bosses, but you're also affected by a vampiric-esque curse or desire for blood, so you end up having to carry vials of this healing blood that basically prevent, because if you guys get too thirsty for blood, they just die because they have the vampiric curse essentially. So you have to carry this extra couple vials of blood in case they've been cursed, which is very likely. If you go in there, you will get cursed. And then I'm not 100% sure how the mechanics work in this, but essentially those guys start to leak out into your regular dungeon runs. So you could run into some of the blood people, I guess. I don't know. Basically, they're like hybrids between vampire, human, vampire, and bugs. They a lot of times take the form of like mosquitoes or other type bugs that drink blood. But like I said, they start leaking out into these regular dungeon runs, so you can't just ignore the Crimson Blood portion of the DLC, because they will start to come into the regular dungeon runs and infect you with this curse. And the only way to reverse the curse is by completing the Crimson Blood DLC, which is a different level of obfuscation complexity that I didn't really want to do for this run. I just sort of wanted to keep it as simple as possible. But I did put in the what do you call that? The other one where there's the crystal shattering cosmos whatever thing. But that tended to be more of a like, see how long you can last sort of thing. If you only last like 15 battles, guess what? You're not going to get much or anything out of it. But if you last like close to 100 battles, you're probably fighting a boss, and you're probably pulling an okay to really good reward out of it. Sort of add insult to injury. The initial run, you have to have low-level characters. Second run, you have to have medium-level characters, I think no stronger than level 4. And then the game, that portion of the game really opens up where you have access to, you can bring any character you want from level 0 all the way up to level 6 into it. But it's a never-ending gauntlet of enemies that you're fighting one after the other. So you have to not only manage your stress, manage your health, but also make sure that you're doing constant damage, because otherwise you're fucked. You have to basically, you can quit at any time. I guess I should put it that way. You can quit at any time you want, and there's no penalty for it, but the longer you stay in, the better your rewards. Yeah, I just had the game crash on me. That's great. Alright, I'll have to put a note there. So sometimes this, I haven't really had it occur on any of my major recordings, occasionally the game will just have like a brain fart and just close out. And it doesn't really affect anything because this has kind of like, if you've often referred to Fire Emblem. Have you ever played Fire Emblem 6, 7, 8, 9? Basically, they have an automatic saving system. So every time you make a move, you confirm your move either by ending a character's turn or attacking or even ending the turn. As soon as that action begins to occur, blocked in. You can't stop it. So as soon as you move up and click on attack or end, you're locked in. You can restart the whole mission from the beginning, which is not possible here because this is essentially permanent. Every decision you make is permanent. It's saving after every move, after every thought practically. You know, if I use a torch in the middle of the battle, it's saved. If I attack with someone, it saves. If I get attacked, it saves. No stopping the progression. It's just a matter of doing the best you can with what is happening right now. So if you look and you guys are really stressed out or they're all low health, you can choose to escape this battle. You'll probably take a stress hit. You'll take a stress hit, I guess I should say, because that's the way this game punishes you for that. But you can still escape provided you guys don't get overwhelmed and have a heart attack and die. And then you take whatever stuff you've gotten up to this point with you, and then you back out. But you live to fight another day. Or you keep pressing on with the risk that one or multiple of your guys may die, but at the same time, you get to finish that level. That's the choice you make.
Formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
So you're gonna, as the stakes start to step up a little bit, you're gonna see me
continue the onslaught.
I hate to steal. I really do love the Best Friends when they were on. Now I do still watch their channels, their individual channels, Pat, Wooly, Matt, because I really did like their stuff when they were all together under one channel. But to borrow one of their phrases, I am gonna lame it out, which I think is probably also a fighting game terminology, but I am gonna, as the difficulty begins to step up and we start stepping into, say, darkest dungeon level territory, if I have Jester with me, I will start to lame it out at a certain point just to make sure that everybody's stress is below a certain percentage. I like to try to keep them below 50%, so if people start ending up above 50, 60, 70% stress, you'll start seeing me take out the guy or guys who are doing the most damage, and then I'll spend a turn or two healing with Jester and Vestal, you know, healing the top bar health, bottom bar stress. So you'll probably see me, I'm not doing it right now, but at some point if stress starts getting above, say, 60, 70, I will start to lame it out and start making sure that when I leave a battle, my guys are of little to no stress and maximum near max HP. Just because it's free. It could be a little lame, I know. The Darkest Dungeon is one of those things where, particularly when you get into the final stretch with the actual Darkest Dungeon, those missions need to be treated like, yes, I accept all the mechanics as they are. I do not wish to pretend that this is some sort of baby game where I can just ignore certain mechanics because the developers want the game to be fun and they're more interested in me having fun and it succeeding than to abide by the game's rules and mechanics. There's a lot of games like that where you could just sort of fucking ignore it. What's that? There's a system that where you tend to, your characters tend to do well in battle right now, and then as the battle goes along, they start to get worse, and then they get better. You know, like a synergy, or however you want to refer to it, system where they start out with, say, low synergy, so they're not doing as much damage, they're not as accurate. Then towards the middle of the battle, or say 5-6 turns later, they're at the top of their synergy again, and they're doing much more damage. They're doing a lot more damage, a lot more accuracy. And then as you continue on down the list, or down your turn list, they get less accurate, they get slightly less damage. It just sort of becomes more of a risk to use that character when they're low on their synergy. But a lot of games, you just fucking ignore that shit. Where they at? Doesn't matter. I'm just gonna fucking throw them at the wall. They'll take all the damage because you're doing 20 damage and they're doing 2. And even though they've got, say, 40 health, you've got 20 health. Doesn't matter because they're not doing enough damage for it to be a real sit down, think about the game, really plan out your moves. Just fucking throw them in there and they'll just tank everything. You can do that in some of these missions, depending on how much luck you're having, how much you're mitigating stress, etc. When you get to the Darkest Dungeon, the last, the 4 most difficult missions, you have to really, really focus down on managing your stress, limiting the number of battles that you go into, and to, some cases, just get lucky. So, that's okay. I know I just dealt 17 fucking... Some of these quirks just drive me up a wall. Like, I don't even get a chance to use my items to fix the problem. I don't know. I know the walls, nobody's got like a quirk that wall crusher quirk that causes you, as soon as you run into a wall, they have to punch it, and it causes damage to, stress and health damage to everybody. But sometimes some of these other items feel like that, where they're either investigating certain idols or stuff that they shouldn't be. And I understand it's part of the quirk system. They happen to have it. If you don't like it, go and spend the money and have it removed. But it ends up not being that big of a deal usually until you get here.
The blood quickens.
I got rabies. I got a rock. So you can pretty much tell the characters I've renamed here. I point out the Joker baby, and I've got Pugsley, which a lot of these are just sort of in my own head jokes. Like, I've never really explained, why would you name this guy Pugsley? Well, because he's kind of short and round and fat, sort of like a pug. that I don't own pugs. I know one of my coworkers loves pugs, so that's why I kind of named him Pugsley, because he kind of looks like a big, like a little, like if he was a dog, he'd be a pug. I know he doesn't got the jaws like bulldogs and pugs usually have, but he kind of has that like ugly, cute looking face. Not that I'm attracted to him by any stretch of imagination. I'm not gay or anything, but yeah, so we are going to do this battle on purpose, and then I am going to back up my guys once they've finished off these guys, and we will rest at the bonfire. I wanted this battle out of my way before we rested, though, in case for some reason I ran into guys who deal stress or a lot of damage or something. I could negate all that by sitting at the bonfire and not have to worry about them eating 20 of my health or 40 of my health off me immediately after I healed. But yeah, the Joker baby, I know I talked about that in one of my other playthroughs. I'm not a fan, not at all a fan of that one. It's literally a guy who's just cosplaying. He's just some kid, and he's on camera, and they're like, you know, he's like, you know how I got these scars? It's I'm the Joker baby. I know people love the cringe. They love to make fun of things like that, even if they very much are probably just as likely to incur a cringe moment in their own damn lives. I don't know. I just kind of was naming characters randomly one day. Helen is another one. Vestal Helen. I'm sure there's a Saint Helen out there. I'm not 100% sure, but I just wanted to kind of name some of these guys either after people that were in my life or tangentially related to me. Pugsley again. Coworker owned pugs. Loves her pug. So I decided to name one of my characters Pugsley. You know, the Joker baby. Again, that's an internet reference, you know. Helen, that's again Helen, H-E-L-L-E-N, an A-N. This one I probably didn't name. I probably didn't change the name on that one. There's a number of characters that have died, and I've had to replace them. This is probably a Crusader replacement that I had for another guy.
A moment of respite. A chance to steel oneself against the coming horrors.
I don't know if Dominic's still alive. He is a highwayman. Dominic was the name of my grandfather. He wasn't a highwayman by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't know. Something about him, the way the character was designed, kind of reminded me a little bit of my grandfather. Not really. I mean, obviously my grandfather was not a highwayman. He was not a robber. He wasn't too much of anything that would be considered like a thief, robber, what have you, but I don't know, something about him reminded me, like maybe the way his hair is or something reminded me a little of my grandfather. I'm sure there's others that they've either died or I've been paying attention to that I renamed at one point and was like, oh, that's funny. But yeah, if you see any stupid names in there that look like I did them, I did them. Like, there's no poop and pee guy in there, but like, if you see a character named like Popo, yeah, that's probably, I named one of my characters Popo. Or I may have named him like something like, I know one of my Hellions is named after, Lana from, Archer. That was pretty funny. I think I've also named probably one of my characters Leela. You can tell what cartoons, adult cartoons I like to watch.
We require only the strength to follow it.
There's no Fry. I didn't name anyone Fry. Or Bender. Or Dr. Zoidberg. If the fucking... If the... If the, Plague Doctor was male, maybe I would name one of my characters Dr. Zoidberg. But she's female, so I can't do that.
The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
It's the drowned crew.
Even in death.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna attempt to avoid all of this by
Obeys.
probably placing Jester towards the front of this thing. He's got 83% dodge. So, while 83% is not a guaranteed miss, it is definitely up there in terms of the highest dodge in this of the crew I have right now. I just added more dodge onto him now. My whole crew just got more dodge is what I should say. Just sort of the basis of this entire strategy that I'm running, which is high dodge to basically try to prevent the Anchorman from locking down one of my characters and healing it. So like if these guys can keep avoiding that, it'll allow me to continue to do damage to the drowned crew, sort of as a extension or more difficult version of the the hag. He heals every turn that I don't do damage to him. However, the difference is, unlike the pot, that it's very difficult to damage because it has high HP. Basically, this guy with the anchor is very difficult to damage right now. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but as soon as he attaches the anchor onto someone, it's like all of his protect disappears, and all of a sudden you're doing a ton of damage to him. So I'm doing like 1 or 2 damage, 3 damage to him right now, but as soon as he heaves to one of my guys, you're gonna see the amount of damage I'm just able to smush this guy with. He fully heals, as you can see, but it's not really gonna matter. That's stress. 8 HP. So there's 23 right there. Out of the 29 he has. So he'll be dead in a second. So now he's got the repost on him. Yeah, everybody's at low stress right now, and everyone's got a high evasion. So, yep, that's the strategy I went with for this boss battle. There's other strategies, obviously, you know, revolving around, you know, obviously just accepting the fact that they're going to do, they're going to catch you down with the anchor, and you just out DPS the battle, or you try to control the front guy. Every time he pops up, you kill him off. Sort of a difficult challenge there. I don't really. This build does not have the DPS to take care of that. Plus, he's got 50% protect. But between the drowned crew and him, they're both unholy. So you could technically run an unholy build to maximize the damage that's being dealt to both crew and Anchorman. He's close to being dead. Oh, I was about to say, he's close to being dead, but I'm not sure he's going to die before hooking me again. You can see I'm kind of not focusing on the crew, even though I probably should be focusing down almost exclusively on killing the crew, dealing damage to the crew. I'm not 100% sure what I'm thinking at this point. I mean, because you can see I'm not doing a ton of damage to them either, but you know, that's that's sort of this whole fight. They hook you with the anchor, they heal for 8 HP every turn, and now you really have to focus down on the anchor guy to get rid of him, so they stop healing 8 HP every turn. I mean, like, literally every turn. They don't even have to attack. They attack, they get 8 HP. You attack, they get 8 HP. That just makes this battle so dangerous. Is they get, you have 4 turns plus their 2 turns. That's 6 times 8. That's 48
Compassion is a rarity.
health they can earn every round if you just ignore them. And it's difficult to out DPS 48 damage. I mean, you could do it. I mean, you just look right there, 20 damage. But you really got to focus down on buffing your guys, making sure you're pulling. You know, you brought big damage dealers. Maybe target them down with bounty hunter. Use arbalest, you know, to really try to lay the damage down. Really, I don't know what to say. It's I may not have brought the right DPS crew, but this is definitely the crew that I wanted to run for a, you know, increase evasion. I wanted to run increase evasion, essentially. Plus, you can see they're pretty, well, yeah, they can be debuffed, they can be blighted, they can be stunned, but they can't really be moved, and bleed is sort of a 50-50. Excuse me. We're focusing them down on them now to try to just eliminate as much HP as we can. And then if we get hooked by the Anchorman again, we'll try to get rid of them. Fine. Fine. It's unfortunate that he hooked him and then he gets another turn, so he's getting 16 HP right there back. There's 21 HP. He'll be dead in a second when Jester goes.
Well struck.
24... 32 HP right there, I think he got from that turn. Bad dodge. Yeah, there we go, 30 HP. Like I said, Crusader, one of the reasons I brought Crusader into this one is because his attacks tend to focus more on defeating the undead. So I wanted him in this battle. Man-at-Arms, Jester, they're designed to try to increase evasion. Vestal I kind of brought along to heal. So if I hadn't given her those healing buffs, she'd probably be able to do a lot more damage than she is right now. And then Jester, when able, is able to do good damage as well. Kind of took me a little too many turns to do this, though, I think. Also, I picked the wrong character to block for. I was hoping this did not work. It did. Fine, I'll get rid of him in a second with Jester and
Masterfully executed.
Alright, you're gonna be dead here in a second because I'm gonna focus down on shooting and just basically doing damage. So you can see where the dodge really helps me out, even though I have been hooked a couple times by the Anchorman. I've not really had to deal with any of the stress-related damage he's trying to do, and that didn't do anything either, which is, I don't really know what that's supposed to do. Fine, he'll be dead here in a second. Not quite. Come on, Crusader.
They are cursed to
That works too.
forever, deep in the swirling blackness, far beyond.
That's
the
a
night's reach.
leper thing that's pretty good. Surprised I haven't run into it yet. Yeah, I don't. 50's not really going to make any difference between keeping the items and not. Alright, that's the drowned crew, which I think is the last of the bosses, so I'm going to cut the episode here. When we come back, we're going to start working on the darkest dungeon itself. So, till then, I hope you guys have a good one.
There is a great horror beneath the manor. A crawling chaos that must be destroyed.